You start,
Yeah,
sir.
good evening.
Yeah.
Acha, the curve that you got is bell-shaped curve. That's what we are saying, which is symmetrical about the line x equal to mu. Okay, and symmetrical, well balanced to the left of that line x equal to mu is half. To the right we have got half, exactly half. It is halving the total area under the curve. Okay, so there is a symmetric curve which we have seen. Now we will have uh, some discussion on other measures of scent tendency, which one of you raised in one of the last classes. We will complete them as well, though we may not use them in many of the statistical tests for obvious reason. We will see that. Okay. What is the number now? I think some are still joining. Number is 18 now. I think let it be at least above 20. Okay. See, arithmetic mean is one of the characteristics of the data set that you have got or the sample that you have got. This arithmetic mean is well defined mathematically as well. You know the formula, right? In the case of frequency distribution, it is summation xi into fi divided by summation fi. That is the sum of all the frequencies. Okay, which can also be rewritten, of course. Summation xi into small fi divided by summation fi, which happens to be small fi divided by summation fi happens to be your relative frequency, which you know. And further, I was saying
Sir,
that is also
sir,
estimated.
your slide is not moving, sir.
No, 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 don't worry. I am not moving actually.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
I want a few more to join. That's the reason I am not just revising a few things which you stated earlier. Okay. So arithmetic mean you know has to compute. However, how to compute median and mode? In the first place, does arithmetic mean have any problem, if at all? And what is that problem that we will see? And then we'll go on to median and mode. Okay, and then there is one empirical formula which connects mean, median, mode. That also we'll see. As I said, it's only empirical formula. In the most of the distributions, whether it is frequency distribution or power distribution, the formula happens to be approximately correct, but not exactly. That you should remember. That is the meaning of empirical formula. We will see that. And after that, we will also look into a little bit of quartiles. You must have heard about quartiles. Those of you who have published some papers in some journals, especially Scopus Indus journals, and these journals are into four buckets. Uh, the top-notch ones are in quartile Q1, and next, say 20% are in quartile Q2, and next 20% are in quartile Q3, and then you have got Q4, the last category. Quality-wise, Q1 and Q2 are really good. Most of the IEEE and other journals come into this category. So quarters are quite now famous, I should say, and we will see that. There is one measure which gives you some amount of idea about the variation of different values. It's called interquartile range. That also we will see. Anyway, for all variation of the given data values from the central value, you have variance or standard deviation square. That anyway will go by. And as I was saying, arithmetic mean and standard deviation are heavily used in our statistical testing, say, of hypothesis purpose. Okay, we don't use sorry mean or non mean sorry median or mode in statistical techniques, whatever we study, because of the fact that they are not mathematically that sound like your arithmetic mean. Okay, there number is not growing. It is only, oh, one is, we are reduced by one. It is only 17 who are there. Anyway, we will start discussing because otherwise time will run out. That to evening time. I think Professor Ramesh Murthy, you are saying only statistics 2, right? Yeah. Now I
Sorry,
am
sir.
changing the. You are seeing the slide statistics 2.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I'm changing now. I've increased the size, but I'm not going to the slide mode unless it is absolutely needed. Okay. Some additional characteristics of data set. Yeah. Anything to ask me? Because of the change of weather, because heavy cold, I got a slight problem with my vocal cord. It's okay. As I said, we have seen the mean as a measure of central tendency. There is the tendency of data to be spread around that measure. That is the mean. You know that. Now, what is the problem, if at all, there is any with the mean? That's what now we are looking at here. And as you know, though arithmetic mean is mathematically quite sound, it has got a mathematical formula which is quite sound. That's what I meant to say. It has got its own drawback. Drawback is with the data which are outliers. Somebody was, I think, no, one of you was explaining as to what is outlier. Basically, data which are on the periphery. Okay, suppose I got the example over here. You have seen the example. Let us take the same example. Suppose you are taking now a sample of 10 employees. Okay, 10 employees randomly chosen. It may not be representative a sample, so you should remember that. Okay, uh, 10 numbers as 10 employees are in the thousands. Okay, 10K, 50K, 20K, 80K, 40K, and 550K, then 90K, then 70K, 30K, 60K. It is an organization. It so happened that you are not very particular about the sample that you have chosen. It so happens that even the CEOs, was also considered one of the employees, and his, monthly pay package is shown over here. Okay. Now, if you consider this, hope now you have seen this now data, you can take it in rupees, uh, Indian context. Of course, if you are in other countries, you can accordingly scale it down or scale it up, or have the currency whichever you want. Okay. Now, if you compute the average or arithmetic mean, you just add them up. I think it comes to 1000K, and there are 10, say, numbers. Sample size is only 10. That's what you have chosen. Though 10 is very small size, and even in our machine learning or data science experiments, we consider several hundreds or thousands, in data, we consider the data set. You should remember that. Okay. So more the number of, say, values in the data set, better the accuracy and results. There's a reason as to why you should consider more. This is one example to illustrate. Okay. Now you will find in this data set, that is the salary of 10 employees, which and these employees are chosen randomly. It so happened that even CEO came into this in this sample. Now, if you compute the average it comes to 100K. Somebody can verify this. Hope I have done it fast, but I think it is correct. It comes to 100K. Now, if you compare 100K with the individual, employee salary per month, first employee has just 10K. I can't compare with the 10K with the 100K, right? And only the sixth employee, of course, he has got, because he is the salary of the CEO, which is very high. 100K is K is close to 90K. That is the seventh employee's salary. And otherwise, these are very small. Okay. However, the average comes to 100K, and that is not representative. That's not a central value of these 10 data values. In case we replace, say, CO is removed and somebody with the salary 50K is replacing the CEO as employee, then the average comes to 500K divided by 10, that comes to 50K, right? Now you will see as to what are the difference between rather difference in terms of the value per se of these two averages. Okay, one is resulting in average of 100K rupees, other one is resulting in 50K rupees. And 50K, the average value you get by replacing 550K by 50K is somewhat nearer the values that you have got, okay, in the data set. Whereas 550, sorry, in case it was 550K, the average is 100K, which is farther from the values that you have got as by 10K, 50K, 20K, 40K, 30K, 60K. Okay, hope you understood as to how the large value of the data will sway the arithmetic mean value. Okay, similarly, you have got one very small value. Say, instead of 50, 550K, you have got 50K, and one of the employees is getting only 2K. Maybe he's a casual worker who comes to the organization, 2K. Again, you will find the value of the average is pulled down. So when you have the values which are outliers, which are outside normal range of the values of the data, majority of the data, I should say that majority of the data, then average is influenced by such, say, bigger values. Okay, that's what, say, we find, and that's what is given over here. So here one employee has a large amount of that is 550K. So this this value is far from other data points, and it affects the whole data. So it is called outlier data. Okay. Now, yes, there is something that you should know, which of course we'll take up when we study the data analysis in detail. Right now, you just understand as to what is the outlier. Now it's pretty clear. If you have got some employee who has got say 2K, again you have outlier data. Okay, so mean is highly affected by the outliers. The mean is being skewed by the one or two large arrays that you have got. Therefore, in this situation, we would like to have better measure of central tendency. That's what is the overall learning from this particular example that now we have chosen. Hope this is clear. It is a quite simple example that I have chosen to drive home the point as to how arithmetic mean is say becoming influenced by the large values. One large value or multiple large values. In case we had 550K and then 440K, two values instead of 550K and 90K, Again, the average value will be influenced by those two values. Okay, and similarly, instead of 550K, you replace it by say 2K. Again, value is, say average value is impacted. Okay, so these are the cases of not negative, bad impact of the outliers on the data values that you have got. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now you have other measures of sun tendency. Okay. Median, somebody was saying in one of the class, I remember, median is one of the simple measures of sun tendency. Okay. What is it all about? How do you compute median? Median basically means middlemost value in the data set. If I want to say middlemost value, naturally, you must be able to arrange the data set values in the ascending or descending order of either magnitude or by some other means. Okay? Some other means I will
Sir,
come to you later. Yeah. Yes, please.
sir, your PPT is not visible. Sir.
Yeah.
PPT is not visible, sir.
Is it? Oh, others are able to
Others,
see
can you?
this?
No, sir. Just now it stopped sharing.
Just now it stopped.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
Oh, okay, no problem. I will.
Just now it stopped.
No, it's okay. Understood. Acha, if it is not seen, no, I will stop sharing. Oh, there was some problem. Sharing had gone out. Okay, now I will share again. I don't know why. Okay. Uh, additional characteristics of data set, which will probably bring in other properties of the data. That's what is being shown over here. Hope now you are able to see this, right?
Yes, sir, we can see, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good. Median, by definition, is the middlemost value. That's what it says. But whenever you want to compute the middlemost value, naturally you'll have to arrange the data in either increasing order or decreasing order of magnitude, especially numbers. Okay. So first thing to do is to order the data values in the from smallest to largest value or in the reverse order. Both are okay. Now there are two cases. If there are n values where n is an odd number, then the middlemost value in the ordered set of data will give you the median. No, it is not that way. That n, the sample size or the number of data in the data set is even. In that case, you will not have a middle or middlemost number. Instead, you will have two values being in the middlemost position. That's what now you find. It's quite simple to understand. So let's just take the example that is given over here. Okay. There are two cases, as I said. One is the case wherein the number of data is or sample size is odd, and in which it's very simple. If there are even number of observations or sample size is even, then the median becomes the average of the two middle values. Okay, simple formula you can apply here. Okay. If the data count is odd, see here 1, 7, 6, 9, 8, 2, 3, 5, 4. This is the given set, data set, okay, or the sample that you have drawn. Now arrange it in the ascending order, but you can also have it in the descending order. Nothing to worry, okay? Okay, I am considering in the ascending order. Now, once you arrange the ascending order, there are how many? 4 plus 4 plus there are 9 values, total 9 values, and the fifth one happens to be, which is of course in a 5 itself, happens to be the middlemost value. That value is the median value. Okay, Simple, right? Median is equal to 5. Now, if the data count is even, in that case, similar example I am considering, say 10 values we are considering, which are, when you do the measurement, they are 1, 7, 6, 9, 8, 2, 3, 5, 4, 10. Arrange them in the ascending order. You get this 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have got 5, 6. Then you have got 7, 8, 9, 10. You will find if you take the fifth and sixth value together, put a bracket. On the left, you have got 4 values. On the right, you got the got four, sorry, 4 values. So there are 2 values which are middle values. So what is being done is to take the average of the 2 middle values that will be taken as the median of the data set which has got even number of data. Okay, that is what is being done. The formula is here. It's very simple. Middle 2 values is the middle 2 values will be the median. Okay, rather not will be median. They will give you median. How? By averaging those 2 values. Average the 2 numbers to get the median. So median is equal to middle value 1, that is 5, plus middle value 2, 6. So very simple. Divided by 2. So it comes to 5 plus 6 divided by 2, which happens to be 5.5. Okay. So this is how we calculate the median if you have got even number of values in the data set. Okay. It's very simple, right? Not difficult. Now, this simple one, no doubt about it. But do you find any problem with the median? Any one of you? Is there any problem with the median?
Sir, here also, if the range is huge,
Outliers.
outliers
So
will
suppose
cause the
direct-
problem.
Pardon me?
So here also, if there are outliers, then lower outlier and higher, then also there will be a problem, right?
Oh, okay. All right. We are coming to that. See, this is
Because
the note that you have got. Median does not take into account. See, the first problem is that it doesn't take into account the precise values of each observation. You have arranged them in ascending or descending order. Okay. Then you have taken out the middlemost value. Other values are not being considered at all. They are considered only in arranging or arranging in the ascending or descending order. Okay.
yes, sir.
We
For
are
example,
not bothered to have to.
sorry,
Yeah, please go ahead.
if the range is too huge, suppose like 5, 4, 6, 9, 5, like, and then 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, then in that case,
Correct.
it will be skewed, right?
Yeah, median will be affected, and it won't be the true representative of the middlemost value, right? At least in
Yes.
arithmetic mean, we are adding all of them and dividing by n, and hence every value contributes. Though in the presence of outliers, we'll have problems, right? And such problems are much more over here. And over and above that, what we find is the individual values do not contribute. They contribute as numbers which are arranged, right? We don't consider individual values except the middlemost value in the calculation of the median value. Okay, if n is odd, sample size is odd, middlemost. If say sample size is say even, then the 2 values are only considered. We have taken the average, which will be the median value. Okay. So maximum 2 are considered in the computation of median. Okay. So it is not, this is the standard thing that we have in mathematical statistics. What we say that it is not amenable for further mathematical calculations. The reason is the PDF and whatever mathematics say that's involved, that can be done. That's what is the more point here. And especially in the continuous distribution, and you compute the average, okay, and then compute the variance, okay. They satisfy some nice mathematical properties. In fact, soon we will study regression say lines and regression equation, which will help you in doing the prediction of whatever say you are selling or some material, its property. We can do the prediction, okay. And to do the prediction, whenever data values are correlated to each other, meaning they have interdependency, then we use regression lines, and there you will see as to how we can differentiate or I'm going to differentiate. That's what is required. Differentiate something which comes out of the data values that are given to us. We will see that quite nice one. In fact, it is not just an ordinary differentiation. It is a partial differentiation. Simple one, not difficult. So don't bother about that. Such things are not possible in the case of median and mode. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. Let us not get into further detail. It's sufficient as such. Okay. Now, if say median has such a problem, let us see whether we have got any other measure of some tendency that is being used. Yeah, there is another that is called mode. Mode is the number which appears most often in a set of numbers. Hope you understood. It's very simple. The one which has got the largest frequency, that value is called the mode. Okay. Mode is used for categorical data where we wish to know which is the most common category. Okay. For example, in this data set that you are given, 5, 4, 6, 5, 9, 5, 7, 3. You don't have to arrange them in ascending order. If you write a computer program, you may do so that it becomes easy to identify as to which are the ones which get repeated after checking the array in which we store the values. When we are looking at this, you do not do the computation as such. 5, 4, 6, 5, 5, 9, 5, 7, 3. You find 5 being repeated thrice. So if you draw you can say draw a frequency table, what you find is that 4 has frequency 1, 5 has frequency 3, 6, 3 is also there. 3 has 6. First is 3. 3 has frequency 1, 4 has frequency 1, 5 has frequency 3, 6 has frequency 1, 7 has frequency 1, and 9 has frequency 1. So what we find is that 5 has the maximum frequency. The value of x, the data value, which is repeated a maximum number of times in the data set or in a sample, that's called mode. Hope now it is clear now, right? Very simple to understand. Okay. Mode is 5 because it occurs most often as such. Okay. Now, problem with mode is that it will not provide us with very good measure of center tendency, which when the most common mark is far away from the rest of the data in the data set. You will find whatever you have 5. See, you have data 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, and then 9. Okay, and though it looks somewhere in between, in case I add a few more data values, say 8 appears say twice, and then 10 appears now say twice, then you will find 5 is not the true representative of the data that you have got. We have simply picked the one which has got the highest frequency. Okay, again, there is no involved math over here. There's a reason as to why mode is not used in most of the sorry statistical testing methodologies. Okay, to use mode to describe the central tendency of this data set would be misleading, because very natural as such, because it is say repeated thrice, we can use that, but it is not a great say measure of tendency. Okay, is it okay?
Sir, if there are two numbers whose frequencies are same, then how the mode will be computed?
Very good question. Now, how do you do it in the case of median?
So there we have taken the average.
Okay, can we do so here?
Because if suppose here it is 5, it is 3 times, and
Yeah.
suppose another number say 10 or 20, if it is, then
Yeah.
average that only same procedure will apply, sir.
Same procedure. That's what is being done normally.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
So, like in the median, what we said is that in the other example, 5 and 6, their average 5.5 is taken as the median. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now we'll go ahead and we will see that empirical formula that we have, which connects mean, median, and mode. This is the formula. Don't ask for the proof of this. It has been observed in the most of the distributions, be it frequency distribution or probability distribution, where probability distribution could be the discrete or continuous. 3 times mean minus median is equal to mean minus mode. Now, if you want to compute mean using median and mode, median and mode. If you want to compute a mean, quite simple. What do you do? 3 times mean minus 3 times median is equal to mean minus say a mode. Take 3 times median to the right side and bring mean to the left side. So 2 times mean is equal to, right, 3 times median minus mode. That's the formula.
Sir, when you say mean, median, mean minus mode is the value which is occurring most number of times,
Exactly.
or is the frequency value?
Yeah. No, not the frequency value. It is the value which has got the maximum frequency.
And if two numbers have the same frequency, we take the average.
We take the average.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay. Please remember, median is middlemost value. Mode is the one which has got the highest frequency. Frequency we are not considering, but highest frequency is used to select the mode. Okay. All right. Now, for completeness, I am also going through quartile in brief. In statistics, a quartile is type of quantile. Okay, it is a measure. Okay, which divides the number quanta. Anyway, you know that, right? Divides the number of data points into 4 parts or 4 quarters of more or less equal size. That's what is being done in the case of quantile. Similarly, we have got percentile. The entire data set is divided into 100 parts. Okay, and each part is called a percentile. Okay, here suppose it divides us into 4 equal parts, and all parts are more or less equal, or they may be less by one data value, depending on whether you have got two values for the ones which divide the set into four equal parts. We'll take the example and see. Now again, like in the case of median, data, sorry, data must be ordered from smallest to largest to compute quartiles. And quartiles are a form of order stack. Basically, it's the ordering the data. Okay, you get first quartile, then second, then third, and the fourth. Okay, and here is an example. And with this, I also want to tell you about your Scopus Index journals. Okay, now dividing the sorry data into four parts, the quartiles. Okay, you will find the top 20% of the data are between 0 and Q1. Okay, between Q1 and Q2 values, you have got 25% of the values. Q2 and Q3, we have got again 25%. And Q3 and below, you have 28%. All right. So explanation is given below. First quartile, 20% of data lie to the left of Q1. Q2, second quartile, 50% of the data lie to the left of Q2. Then 78% of the data lie to the left of Q3. Quite simple to understand, the third quartile. Now, can you compare Q2 with the median, by the way?
Yes, the Q2 is the
Q2 with the
median center part.
Oh, yeah, that's true, right? Q2 is nothing but median because Q2 divides the given data set into two parts, equal parts, rather, more or less equal parts. Okay, go ahead. Now, what we normally say is that, you know this, right? I have been parroting now with all the research, scholars that you should publish your papers in peer-reviewed, refereed, indexed journal, which are unpaid. Okay. Now, Scopus is a big collection of journals which are identified by Scopus, right? And also, it ranks them. Okay, it ranks them. As I said, the top 25% of the journals are in quartile Q1. Okay. Next 20% are in quartile Q2, between Q1 and Q2. And next 3 are, we call them, Scopus Index journals in quarter Q3, 20%. Last is, again, lowest below, 20%. Normally, what we suggest the people is that you should have your publication in Q1 journal or Q2 journal, or the least could be Q3. Okay, only Scopus has done this, categories of the publications, whereas Web of Science journals are normally either in Q1 or Q2. Similarly, IEEE journals, most of them are in Q1 or Q2. And some of the recent journals published by IEEE are in Q3. That's what I found as such. Okay. Even ASM journals, ASM, of course, ASM mostly from the computing side. Okay. They're in either Q1 or Q2. Okay. So you should not be taken aback as to what is this quartile and what is Scopus journal in first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and the fourth quartile. Okay, say up to Q1 first quartile, Q1 to Q2 second quartile, Q3 to Q2 to Q3 third quartile, below Q3 fourth quartile. Okay, of course I could have written here below whatever values that are there below less than say Q3 when you have arranged them in the descending order of magnitude. Below Q3 we have got 25% of the values. Okay. Now there is one measure that you have got that also says the variability between variability of the values in terms of range. Okay. Given the set of values.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah.
With regard to the quartiles, so we arrange the numbers in increasing or decreasing orders,
Yeah.
and we just divide them into 4 parts.
Exactly.
So the first 25% will be quartile 1, and the
Yeah.
next 25% will be quartile 2, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Things are simple, but in case it happens to be that Q1 has two contenders, maybe that Q2, Q3 also has 2 contenders, then you should be careful. Okay, you'll have to consider different, data sets and verify that. Anyway, in the case of median, we have done that. We have taken the 2 middlemost values and taken their average.
No. I mean, let us say there are 12 numbers. So when we divide it into 4 parts, it's 3, 3, 3, and 3.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Now we have arranged it in the decreasing order.
Okay.
So the value of the third and the fourth is same. So which quartile will they fall in?
Third and the fourth
is same.
Yeah, that's true. Right. In which case, you are right. In which case, you'll have to consider the averaging technique. Whatever we adopt in the case of, say, median and mode.
No, I did not understand value of third and fourth will be same.
No. I mean, let us say there are 12 numbers. Okay, and they have been arranged in the decreasing order. So the first number is 12, second number is 11, third number is 10, and fourth number is also 10.
Okay.
So will the third number, which is 10, come in the first quartile, and the fourth number, which is 10, come in the second quartile? I mean, how will you decide that?
Okay, good question. Any answer from the audience?
I mean,
Sir,
10 is okay, right? In that case.
Sir, as it is arranged here, 23, 24, 24 is coming, 24 and 24 is coming near. 10 and 10, like sir is telling, Sir Ramesh sir is asking, 10 and 10 will come together only. It won't come to the next quartile.
Yeah, you have a point there. Now, what can be done in that case?
Sorry, sir?
What can be done in that case? That's what my question.
Average, sir? 10 and 10.
The next numbers will take the average.
Sir,
Okay.
such a
Any other? Let us now discuss that.
okay. Now, such problem, can't we draw ogive curve and take it?
Come again?
Drawing the cumulative frequency curve for such a problem.
That is one solution, of course. We can draw the last time we have drawn the cumulative distribution curve, right? Oh, we did not draw. We just explained, right? We can draw the curve, right? And then say there you'll have to identify the value of which divides the entire curve into 2 equal parts, right? That's what you are saying, Ms. Kavita.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then you can do n by 2, n by 4, and 3 n by 4.
Yeah, that is one way. In fact, here you'll have seen I am not considering the frequency distribution. I simply said data values, and not say consider distribution, because when you consider distribution, of course, things will be simpler. But because we are not going to use median and mode in our further statistical testing activities, I'm not getting into the details as such. However, we have a solution, as you were saying. You'll have to draw the cumulative. What is the name given to that? You remember that, Ms. Kavita? Ogive curve, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they are called ogive curves. Okay, you can draw Ogai curves, and using say a graph, you can easily identify the value which divides the entire distribution into two equal parts, and also three values which will divide the distribution, the data set into four equal sorry, equal parts. Okay, Ogai curves can be drawn. That is more accurate rather than averaging technique that can be used. Or another technique that you can use is to uh, write the value that is repeated only once. Okay, here, because individual values are not counted, it is only three values are considered: q1, q2, q3. Okay, and hence even if you remove one value, there should not be any problem at all. Repetition you can avoid wherever say it happens to be either either q1 or q3. Best thing is to use the Ogai curve. Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
Now, this Q1 and Q3 are quite interesting ones. And if you take the difference, Q3 minus Q1, that's called interquartile range. Interquartile range. And if you consider this set of values that you have got, which are totally 10 in number, correct? 10, right? Not 10. 5. Yeah, 5. The interquartile range is 4. This gives somewhat say a rough sketch as to what is the variation in the values of the data set. Okay. However, what we find in all our later discussions is that variance, or that is the standard deviation square, you know that has been used extensively. We are not using interquartile range, nor are we using other measures of dispersion, how values are dispersed around the central value. There is one more such measure very similar to variance or standard deviation square. It is called the mean deviation, but mean deviation has its own drawback. There's a reason as to why it is not amenable for a mathematical treatment. That's why we don't consider it for any testing. So what is important is that we depend on the mean, that is the arithmetic mean, and standard deviation square or variance for all our statistical analysis. Okay. Now, little bit about skewness and or kurtosis. Okay. I'm not giving in detail. I will give only some measures of checking whether the distribution is skewed vis-a-vis the symmetric curve or the normal distribution or normal curve or the bell curve. That's what is the study here. Okay. Skewness is a measure of the asymmetry of the probability distribution of a real valued random variable about its mean. For example, normal distribution, if you have seen the curve that is symmetric about mu happens with a mean there, I told you in the beginning. Okay, so just see the left side now curve. Okay, here the middle one, which is a symmetrical distribution, has mean, median, mode being the same. Okay, now if you go to the left, you find positive skew, where you will find mode is more than median and median is more than mean. All right. And if you go to the right side, you have got the negative skew, where you find mode being more than the median, and median is more than mean. Okay, that's what we observe from the curves over here. In the positive skew, what you should remember is that mean is, because it's the horizontal axis, right? Largest value when compared to median and mode. Whereas in the case of negative skew, mean is the smaller of the other two. Smallest amongst the three. There is less than median and less than mode. Okay, this is what you find in the case of, skew distributions when compared to the normal distribution, which is in the center. Okay, and other diagram is same thing that is being, explained. Okay, now there are two measures of skewness. One is using, mode. Other one is using median. Okay, in the case of mode skewness, we are using mean as the reference one. What is the difference between mean and mode? That's what we consider. And you normalize that by dividing that difference by sigma. Whereas Pearson's median, these are all given by Carl Pearson. Okay, Pearson is one of the great, statistician from England. Okay, he has given two measures, one using mode and other using median. The one with the median skewness, that is given by the formula 3 times mean minus median divided by sigma is the skewness measure. Okay, let us have this formula as they are, but we are not going to get the details of this. Now, you may ask me as to where these are all useful. Are they really useful? Yeah. Anybody who is doing research work in finance domain? Anybody? I think we have got large number of people, right? In the
Yes, sir.
finance
Yes, sir.
domain.
Myself, Chandrakala. Yes, sir.
Okay. You use this, techniques, skewness in understanding the finance gain or loss you make. Yeah, in the finance domain, this a measure of skewness is used heavily. Normally, it will be normal curve, and in case even in the trading, in the stock market, this can be used, but you'll have to use what is called rather diffusion theory, where stochastic differential equations are being considered along with this. Okay, it is a bit mathematical one, of course. There, of course, we can use skewness. Okay, that is sufficient for us. Let us not get into other details about that. Okay, other important measure is called kurtosis. It is a measure of kurtosis is a measure of the tailedness. Okay, I will show you the diagram. Okay. Because I have increased the font size. If I use the slide mode, then there is a problem. Anyway, I am showing that. You will find the curve over here.
There's a lot of confusion getting created here. You are on one side speaking with me on Geo, and on one side you're speaking with Ramani sir.
Who is speaking? I think everybody is in mute mode, right?
How did you get Ramani sir's number?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, please mute. Okay, if you want to make a call or if you are receiving a call, to tell them no, you will be calling later. Okay, you can mute and tell them. Otherwise, others will be getting, disturbed. Okay. And here you will find you have the normal curve, okay, where the kurtosis measure is considered to be 0. Okay. Now, if the curve is below, rather, which is more flat when compared to normal curve, then we say we have got, say, negative kurtosis. It is called platykurtic, platykurtic. Now, if you consider the other one, which is in, say, in green, okay, and if you consider the curve which is in red color, you will find a very steep, say, peak is, say, very high. Okay, here we say it is leptokurtic. Okay, these are the normal definitions that now we use to measure the kurtosis. Now, if you find the tails of this, okay, tails of this, you find area under the tails will be varying from platykurtic to leptokurtic, say, curves or the distributions. That's what you find. Okay, in a leptokurtic, you will find that we have got very less area below the tail part of the curve. Okay, whereas in a normal curve, it is almost much better than the leptokurtic curve. And in the case of platykurtic, you will find you will have more area at the tail ends of the curve. Okay, so that's sufficient as such. In fact, now for the measure of kurtosis is a bit involved. It is the ratio of fourth moment about mean and square of the second moment about mean. Okay, don't be worried too much about that. Let me tell you what it is. Variance is what? You know that. It is F, say, we have got the formula as such. F x square minus mean whole square. Mean square, okay. Or in the original formula is summation xi minus, sorry, x bar whole square divided by n. That's the formula. Okay. This is also called second moment about mean, because xi minus x bar square, right? So square means it's the second moment. Sorry. Similarly, you can get a fourth moment, which will be summation xi minus x bar to the power of 4 divided by n. That is what is the fourth moment of the distribution about the mean. Okay. You divide the fourth moment by square of the variance, which is the second moment. You get measure of kurtosis. Okay. If it is positive, then the curve becomes, rather, the curve is left. Which has got a peak, huge peak. And if it is negative, it is flatter. Sorry. I think I will do a lot of steaming, which is if it is flat, when compared to normal curve, then it is platykurtic. Okay. I think today we will stop at this. Next class. 2 part is over. Okay, only the third distributions are to we just started with normal distribution and you is a transformation from the given normal distribution with the parameter mu and sigma to standard normal distribution, which has got parameters mu is equal to 0 and sigma is equal to 1. Once you have done that, we can use the standard normal table values and compute the probability. Okay, sorry, I thought I will take class up to 8 o'clock, but because of the incident, I think I will stop here.
Yes, sir. I think you should take rest, sir.
Yeah, yeah. No, let us know about today. Sorry, I'm sorry. Half an hour is
no issues,
but it's okay.
and a Merry Christmas
Okay,
and
sir.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, yeah. In the next class, we'll make it up. So happy
Yeah,
Christmas
and
to
a
all.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, right. Okay. Let us see in the next week. No, as I said, we will avoid first because I know the reasons. All of you know the reasons. So we will have the even 31st. We'll avoid. We will have the class on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. With this, let us close for today.
Thank you,
Happy New Year,
sir.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
I'll send the slide deck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you, sir.